Sorry. So the current cost we were using, that's we were going by the values it supplied. So obviously it's a current clamp, but it assumes the voltage. So that's why there's a slight disparity gap between them. Obviously the houses are down in Loughborough, so up at Strathclyde we couldn't go in and read meters as much as we would have liked to sort of get a better understanding of where it is. So those sort of readings we had there, so it's close. It's not ideal, but it's it's there.
So is that a follow-up question? So on that, then I think the power flux and stuff should be never really power because they do sort of an integration current and voltage, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Have you ever compared the two? So
the aggregate values versus the plug values to see if it matches up. Yeah, no, they're reasonably close. Yeah.
Okay.
In some cases, it may be that the plug value will give you like 3,000 watts for a kettle, and the aggregate value might give you slightly more or less, but you can. It's close enough that you can match them up if you put it in examination.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Simple one. Page 11. You go back to page 11.
Page 11.
Analysis statistics. I just want to understand what you mean by the number of users.
This one, yeah?
No,
That one.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, who chooses?
Sorry, for the fridge fee,
on off?
that is the cooling cycle, yeah. That's the number of cooling cycles. I should have mentioned that, sorry.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Just going to put this back up here.
Any other questions in the room? So I have a question that occurred to me while watching. So you monitored 9 or 10 appliances per home.
Yeah.
But it always seems hard to kind of cover the majority of the energy consumption in each home, right? So the kind of sub-metered total was around 50%. Do you have any advice for like things that you wish you had monitored or things that you shouldn't have done but you ended up doing?
No, I would say we monitored most of the big appliances. Obviously, if you want to capture sort of wired in appliances is where you're going to lose the most power, I think, for like cookers and things like that, where you can't physically go in and get them in fitted kitchens especially. So it'd be nice to monitor that, but in general, just monitor more appliances.
Okay, so you're restricted to plug loads only and 9 or whatever.
Yeah. So if you have a bigger study, monitor more appliances and it'll be better. Yeah.
Cool. Any other final thoughts? All right, let's thank David again.
Yours is PowerPoint. Okay, look good. All right, see if you can get this close to this microphone. Although if you prefer, you can use this to hold it.
I think I'll just use it.
Just try and get as close as possible. Yeah.
Okay, our next talk about datasets is going to be by Kaibin about the Smart Home Lab dataset. Over to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for organizing and sponsoring the workshop. I'm very happy to be here. We're pretty new to NILM research, actually, and let me explain maybe a little bit about our provenance. So this is me. I'm a PhD student at the research group of Professor Schmeck at IFB Institute, and this is from KIT, the former University of Karlsruhe. We did projects like Meridio Mobile, and currently we are in the Competence Center of Applied Security Technology. And Ada Asini, who couldn't make it today.
Okay, can I swap the mic for this? Can you hold this on and I'll take this on away? Sorry.
And Ada Asini was a guest researcher at our institute last year. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today as he is back to Brazil and the funding gets too expensive from Brazil. In my spare time, I'm the co-founder of Elvis.com. We are doing home automation visualization. But to my research, I'm interested in very low resolution NILM algorithms, especially for 5 minutes and 15 minutes resolutions. Also in privacy enhancing technology, especially in domestic buildings. Currently, I'm working on integrating NILM eval, which is a MATLAB framework, into NILM TK, which we all know is a Python framework. In the past, we were doing bio-inspired optimization strategies, energy optimization in smart buildings and smart homes. For that, we have built a smart home on the KIT campus, which is depicted on the picture above. And also we have a smart building or smart office in the FZI, Forschungszentrum Informatik, also in Karlsruhe. The smart home lab is a fully detached smart home. You can, it has all the appliances you usually have in a detached building. You can fully live there actually 24/7. And in the past projects, we had the privilege to get some electric vehicles, and it also has electric charger for the vehicles. Also to control everything, there is a web interface called Energy Management Panel on the above right, where you can see, for example, the energy flows or control the devices. The smart home is a container building. We launched 2 ISO containers together for a living space of approximately 60 square meters, sorry. And as I said, you have a fully equipped kitchen, living room, 2 rooms with 10 square meters each, bathroom, and also a 20 square meter utility room where we have a combined heat and power plant to provide for heating and warm water. Also on the rooftop, there is a photovoltaic system. The inverter is also in the utility room. We also have an air conditioning system. We can pump cool water above the ceiling, so we can cool the home down. Unfortunately, it doesn't include ventilation, so you're limited to the dew point for cooling. And so the home was built in the project Merugio Mobile, and we used it in the consecutive projects iToys and currently Grid Control. For measurement, we use WAGO PLC devices. We have one array for big devices, which use 3 phases each. And we also have a second array where we use one phase. They're essentially the same meters, but we use one phase for each meter. Also, we have a relay array where we can potentially switch on and off the plugs if we use non-intelligent devices, for example, but we mainly use them for controlling the lights. Also, the measurement units are capable to measure up to 5 amperes of current. So we have to convert the 16 amperes down to 5 first before we can measure that. And the measurement converters are below the picture, which is not seen. So I said that it's just a trailer because we haven't published the data set yet. But if we publish it, hopefully next year, it will contain approximately 5 years of monitoring time, but only like 1.5 years of net worth of data. The data contains energy consumption and production data from the lab. It's a lab, and at the same time, it's a detached house, so it's habitable 24/7. Actually, we had some living trials in this building. It contains signatures of photovoltaics, electric vehicles, and all the usual household devices. We have measured 33 plug arrays or devices or circuits and 4 3-phase circuits. And we all know the phases of each submeter. the photovoltaic system is connected directly to mains, so it's not like usually in Germany you have a single disconnected photovoltaics to get the incentives, but in this house with photovoltaics is actually seen in the mains connection. So maybe this will put some of the NILM algorithms off. It would be nice to find out. But also we have some quirks. During the first half of the data, we measured at only a 2-second interval due to a bug in the software. Later, we switched to 1 second, 1 Hertz resolution. We had a voltage drop after about 1 year. I'll come to that later. The submeter data was compressed to save disk space. We only measure or store a data point if a data point, the active power difference is more than 5 watts. Don't do that. Also, we have crosstalk. We can see some profiles from unrelated devices in another device. This is load curve. And also, we have the usual stuff like interruptions. The meters may fail. Our software framework was a all-in-one software framework. We switched to another one, more decentralized now. But in the past, it was an all-in-one framework. So whenever we developed something new, we had to shut everything down. So we had missing data and also bugs in the framework, memory leaks, the usual stuff. The voltage drop. Here you can see the voltage drop actually in the mains. Was in August 2012. That is because we had to move the smart home from this one to 10 meters away because at this ground, they had to construct a new building, so we had to move, and then we got a new connection at mains, so we had a new a new voltage level during that since that point. The crosstalk can be seen here. Here's on the top. There's a profile of a dryer, and you can see that profile shadowed in 2 other devices. Apparently, these 2 other devices are just phase 2 and 3 of the same measurement unit. So the rationale here is don't use 3-phase measurement units to measure single devices, because you get this. We're currently working to somehow calculate that error out of the data. Yeah, so as shown in the picture, don't use this. Right thing, don't use single devices with a 3-phase measurement device. But it was cheaper. So dataset visualization, we needed some kind of visualization to search for the good sections. And I was trying to get web visualizations to work, but it was very time consuming. And I thought, has it to be really interactive? And I thought, no, not that interactive. So if you take a video like this one, yeah, can I play it? And doesn't run. Okay, so if you take a video like this one and just put for each data point you put a blue tick on the top one, you can perfectly see the missing data, and you can scroll through the time, and you've got like no computation time. You don't need any computation time to generate. You need computation time to generate before, but to just scroll through it, you almost don't need any computation time. So due to the compression, we were quite lucky that our submeter array contained the fridge and the deep freezer, which has a constant duty cycle. So at least every half an hour, we got a data point from the fridge or the deep freezer. So we quite know when the cold system stopped or when it was active. And then I tried to find the segments which contained at least 7 consecutive days, which is on the list here. And so bottom line, we got about 2 years of net worth of good data. And here you can see the visualization of It doesn't work. Okay, you should see the visualization of consumption of each device, and also the big devices on the bottom. So blue is production, and red is consumption. So if you have a video, you can actually scroll through 6 years, just like that. Let me talk about the effects of a 5-watt compression. If you look at that way, that if you look at each data point individually, then you know that between 2 data points, the error does not exceed plus or minus 2.5 watts, because if it would exceed 5 watts, then we would have created a new data point. So if you look at the equation, it pretty looks like quantization error. So you can define that compression, what we did with the compression, with quantization error. And it depends how much energy your device actually uses, and how that affects how that quantization error affects your measurement. So if you have a device which uses quite a lot of energy, it's not such a big problem. But if you have a device like a desk light, which uses a very little energy, it is a problem. Can I play that maybe? So I converted an audio track, a well-known audio track, and used the compression thing on that audio track. So if you have a washing machine, it would sound like this. So it's basically a clean signal. But if you have a desk light with that compression, it would sound like this. So you already hear there's a difference. Of course, comparing soundtracks and load profiles is not 100% correct. If you look at the histogram, then soundtracks has this kind of histogram, and load profiles, for example, my washing machine, just has a pretty different load profile. Finally, what we are coping with currently is data protection, which is hindering us from publication right now. Data protection is an issue especially in the European countries. The Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union defines fundamental rights like the respect for private and family life and the protection of personal data, which is in Article 7 and 8 of the Charter. And in the future, we will have the General Data Protection Regulation, which was accepted or which was which is effective right now, but it's directly applicable since May 2000. It will be directly applicable in May 2018. So maybe not in UK, but rest of EU. And there it defines these 2 fundamental rights. And if you deal with energy consumption data, you most likely deal with personal data or personal identifiable data, PII. That means that either you need the consent of the participants of your study, that you may allow to do research on this, or you have to apply anonymization. The best choice is to get a consent. If you would do anonymization, then it's always like a trade-off. You have to, you as a controller of the data, have to look at the costs and the time which is required for the identification or re-identification of the data, which is if it's possible to re-identify the data with a specific person. And also you have to consider new technology developments like NILM, which may help in the re-identification. And also the researchers have to consider if it's possible to combine the energy consumption data with other public accessible data and then you maybe suddenly be able to identify people which were not identifiable with only the first data set alone. And also, all the developments currently in the big data technologies may lead to a more easily identification of people in data sets. So don't go for anonymization. Try to get a consent of your data subjects or the people living inside your homes. But for this, they have to give a freely given consent for the data you collect and for the publication of the data on an informed basis. And you have to specify one or more specific purposes. So research is too generic. You have to specify the research fields or the specific project, and you have to explain them what is the degree of sensitivity of the data, what can you do with the data. And the consent we get from this data I've just shown you was too specific on just one research project. And we did the failure to say that we will anonymize the data, which we can't do effectively, especially if we want to publish the raw data. So right now we are chasing the people who were living there and try to get a new consent. And for that, we have to specify the new purposes of the data. So NILM will be one purpose. But if you want to do other research on this, I would ask you to approach me and tell me what you're going to do with the data, and I will put it in the consent right away. Yeah, so the consent, what should it look like? It should be like one page and easy to understand for people not involved in legal stuff. Okay, so conclusion. I hope we get the dataset, Energy Smart Home Lab dataset soon, hopefully in 2017. And the error we have done is like, do not use an all-in-one framework. Try to split it up in a more decentralized way. Do not use three-phase measurement units for 3 different devices. Avoid compressing if you have disk space, or compress only lossless. You can use pre-rendered videos to generate nicely looking time series visualizations, and take care of data protection very early in your process. Yeah, don't claim that you will anonymize data because you can't. Just get a consent instead. Thank you very much. If you want more information about the smart home, just go to organicsmarthome.org. Thank you.